right, the time has finally come.
We're back.
Yeah, we're back. We're just two cousins. We're talking about some movies.
So excited.
All right, yeah, I'm Charlie.
I'm Chris.
And this is the Two Cousins Podcast. Today we're talking about Scream 6.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So this was my most anticipated movie of the year.
Really?
Probably.
Oh, yeah.
Just because I'm such a big Scream fanboy.
You are.
Yeah.
You are. You passed it on to me.
Yeah.
Scream is my favorite horror franchise.
It's easily my favorite horror franchise.
Yeah.
I think that no other horror franchise really stands up in terms of continuity.
No.
Even though there is some like plot armor and stuff in some of these movies.
But it's almost expected in Scream. You go in expecting that. So it's not too crazy when you look into it, and it's just the fun of the movie.
And it's okay. Like every single Scream movie is very watchable. Even the ones that I don't like as much, like the Scream franchise is just the most consistent horror franchise. Yes, and I think it's iconic in the terms of what it did and how it kind of flipped narratives on their head and kind of made these movies like whodunit movies.
100%. It definitely did something so much different with the horror at the time and it's been able to stick with it. And
it evolves as movies evolve,
right? But naturally,
evolve.
Naturally,
yeah, exactly. And they stay meta, and I think that these are really fun movies. This episode, we're kind of going to talk about our general feelings for Scream 6.
Yep.
And then we're going to dive into some spoilers and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
We were going to do a Scream ranking video, and we're going to save that. We're going to use that very soon.
More information on it coming up.
Yeah, more information on it coming up, because we got some really fun stuff that I really want to talk about. And instead of just giving a loose ranking of my Scream movies, I want to go into the aspects of what make these Scream movies great.
We do our research on this podcast, so we want time to do the research, make it as good as it could be, and
get
be
back
a
to
real good podcast. We'll get back to you on that one.
So let's get into our general feelings for this movie.
General spoiler-free for anybody who didn't see it. I don't know why you're listening to this if you haven't seen it. But
but this is the spoiler-free part, so stick around. Just hear our general thoughts on the movie. We're not gonna spoil anything for you. Just going to talk about it.
Definitely. So, I mean, it was just right off the bat something that really made it different from the other movies, that set it apart in a really good way, was how intense this was. Definitely the best chase scenes, I would say, since like the first movie. The first movie is known for its chase scenes. These chase scenes were different, but so much more intense. And that was really due to the setting of New York City. I thought was really awesome.
And I think that the directors listened to the fans on this one, because Scream 5 didn't really have as many chase sequences.
No.
In comparison to the other Scream movies. So I think that they heard that very loud and clear, and they came back with one of the most anxiety-inducing Scream movies to date.
And thinking about it, I don't even know if it's like a chase sequence. It's like in quotations.
Yeah.
Chase sequence, because it wasn't the standard final girl running up and down the stairs, throwing the bikes at Ghostface going down the stairs. It was like I don't know what to call it.
You're walking through a sea of people. They also placed this during Halloween, which was different.
Yes, that was awesome.
Yeah. And so you have all these people dressed as Ghostface.
Yep.
Because Ghostface is even famous in the movies within Scream, because the Stab franchise is so big.
Yep.
And this is kind of like a national story.
Yep.
So there's a bunch of people wearing this Ghostface mask, and it's like you're looking over your shoulder every time you're walking around, because you don't know if it's just someone dressed up or if it's Ghostface.
Right. And the meta-knowledge of us knowing that there's always more than one Ghostface, it's like, it even puts you more on edge, like, how many Ghostface are there actually? Because that's always the big twist at the end.
Always the big twist at the end.
You know, there's always in these movies some conveniences and, plot armor that you got to give it, but these movies are really based in kind of the craziness and the wackiness that comes with a whodunit movie like that. I think that's almost a staple in this movie, and it's almost a non-factor, I think, when thinking about the movie in general. What do you think?
I feel like this movie did a really great job building everything up.
Yeah.
I don't know if it landed the best, but I think that having the whodunit factor keeps these movies like timeless, and is a difference maker when you think of separating itself from the genre, because these movies are meta, they're funny, and you're trying to like solve a mystery while you're watching it, and even if you can, like, they throw you off quite a bit.
They do, purposely. Every movie does it.
Yeah, and it's great.
Yes.
I think that this movie was really the most anxiety-inducing, though. Like I said, like that's what I walked out of the theater thinking, like,
right,
wow, like they really built the tension up. There was like multiple moments in the movie that I'm like, wow, my heart's actually like beating like pretty quick.
My friend that I saw it with, I was literally like, ooh, and like like in the seat. He's like, bro, shut up. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm super into it. Oh my god, so many moments like that, and definitely I would say the gore got upped a little bit in this one. In a really cool, practical way, I think. Yeah. I think it was practical from what I saw, but overall, did you see the killer reveal coming? We're not going to say who it is, but were you able to? I'm never really able to guess who it is because I feel like these movies. I don't know if they do it so well. They put out so many red herrings on purpose, but I did not see it coming.
Yeah, it did throw me for a loop. I will not act like I am the smartest person while I'm watching these movies either. I love these movies, don't get me wrong. But there's a lot of times that I'm like, oh wow, I didn't see it coming. And I think having the ability that's not just like one killer. So like even if you do suspect a killer and you know one, you have to look for multiple killers in these movies too. So even if you like hit the nail on one, you have to. They throw you off like quite a bit. Yeah. There's red herrings in the movies. Everyone's acting suspicious. Everyone's a suspect.
Yes.
I loved it. I really did.
I feel like also this might have been the most, in a good way, self-serious Scream. Maybe that was the fact that it was so intense, but I feel like, I don't know. You know what I mean? I feel like this was definitely the most horror-esque, and I don't know if that was attributed to the directors, but it was definitely the most, I guess brutal is the right way to say it. Because I feel like the rest of the Screams, you know, the first movie with the kill in the garage door or the TV falling on the head, compared to the crazy shit in this movie, like it was definitely the most. It go back to intense. I feel like
it's definitely evolved. I think that they're adding a lot more action set pieces. Yeah, and making it like the set piece is a little bit more elaborate because it's the sequel. You got to up the ante. Right. And the change of setting, like we said, was a big factor in that they were able to do a lot with the idea of let's move these people to the city. Yeah. And it just gives this movie a completely different feel. I really did like all the characters.
I did too. I really had no issue with any character. Like, there's always one or two characters that I just don't want to watch, but I think even this one and in Scream 5, I really like the characters, and they're also there. There are a lot of crossover characters because it's a continuing story, but I did like them all.
Yeah, I think I'm so bad with actors' names, but the twins.
I don't know those actors, but they're really good.
Yeah, they're really charismatic characters, and I feel like the fact that they're able to build onto these characters, because when you bring a new cast into a franchise like this, it kind of takes a little bit for you to like get warmed up to them and get to like them. And this movie, I'm like, okay, these characters are fun characters. Like, I care about this group. Yeah. Like, I think this group is funny. They have like a funny little dynamic. Exactly. They're charismatic characters. I think everyone in the main cast, I really do think does like a really good job. I think the reason that maybe some are at like pop in and out of the spotlight is to throw you off to who's the killer. Oh yeah. But I think everyone in the role that was designed for them, I think, did a really good job.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess the last point I want to say before we get into spoilers, or one of the last couple things, is like, again, going back to subversion of expectations from the jump, because the opening kill, different than anything we've ever seen. I bugged out. I'm like it was crazy. I mean, it's we'll get into spoilers, but it was so different that
you knew from the beginning. You knew from the first 5 minutes. You're like, okay, this is different. They're going for it.
And it worried me initially.
It worried me too. Yes. I was like, all right. It took me a minute to have to buy it. The story did a good job with it. Right. But at first there was a big like shock factor. You're like, oh, okay.
That is one of the staples of Scream. It's not a fake out death. It's like a
Oh well, we'll wait till we get to the spoilers.
Well, no, the staple of Scream. It's not a fake out death. What would you call it more? Just the opening kill, right? Just
the opening kill sequence. Yeah,
there's been fake out deaths in this series as far as the opening kills.
Yeah, and Scream 5.
Yeah, but no, this one is completely different, and we'll get into just how different it is.
I guess at this point, you want to just do we give a number yet, or do we leave that for the spoiler part?
I say we leave it. People can take our feelings, and then they can rank it themselves. And
it's definitely a must-see in theaters.
100%.
And I think that this is an upper echelon Scream movie. Mm-hmm. When you think there's 7, now there's a definitive top tier and bottom tier.
100%.
So I think that this is definitely upper echelon. This is definitely my top 3 Scream movies. We're going to go into a deeper ranking of it soon. We'll talk about that.
Top 3 for sure.
Yeah. So you want to get into some spoilers?
If you didn't see the movie yet, you can just get the fuck out of here.
Take a hike. Go.
Please come back though.
yeah, come back after you watch the movie though. Yeah, we probably should have said that. Whatever fucking come back. Don't listen to this. Get the fuck out of here. I don't know why you're listening in the first place.
Let's get into spoilers. So, I say we start. We alluded to it a bit. The opening kill. So, obviously, it was very different in that they did a Ghostface reveal.
Yeah,
right in the opening kill.
And it really, I was very worried. I was like, okay. So we'll talk about the setup to that part.
Yes.
Even too. Because I think whatever actress did the opening was
good.
Was the opening kill.
Yep.
The tragedy of the. You're like, wow, what a great actress. She's fucked. So I like that they incorporated online dating and just how odd the world is now in comparison to when the first Scream movie came out.
Yeah.
So you're basically meeting a stranger and having it in the city.
It wasn't a stranger. That was his teacher.
I know, but she didn't know that she was talking to him.
Oh, she didn't.
He was catfishing.
I missed the first 2 minutes of the movie, to be completely honest.
Yeah, he was catfishing.
I got into the theater at the point where she walked out of the bar and went down the alley. That's where I got.
So before that, they're sitting at the bar and they're texting each other.
Gotcha. Okay.
And basically he's like, I don't know where this place is.
Yeah, he was trying to. Street. And then he led her into the alley, and then
So I think they did a really good job making it different in the sense that this is right out in public.
Yeah.
The other ones are more intimate. That's they're coming into your house. It's no, this is happening
it's always
in the middle of a street that people are walking by. These are you're in the city.
It's always a girl in her house alone is the opening kill. Is that right?
That's I think what maybe ups the ante because there's certain places that you feel safe almost.
Right.
Within these movies, that's okay, daylight kill's not really gonna happen.
Right. Out in public.
Yeah.
Especially in New York City. That was the funny, ironic thing that's kind of just coming to me now. It's you think that's the safest place is out in public in New York City, one of the most populated and bustling cities out there. But no.
Nope, you're fucked. And love that they did it in Halloween. That he's able to. Everyone's dressed up. Everyone's dressed up to go. They do that in the first scene. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm. And then the fact of we get the reveal.
We get the reveal.
Then they follow him back, and then he gets stalked by actual Ghostface. Was insane. And they give his whole backstory how he's
a copycat killer, and he wants to kill them first.
Yes,
and he wants
to kill us, Tara and Sam.
Yeah. And was that due to the conspiracy theories?
Yes.
So that's another way that they incorporate what's really going on in the world,
cancel
in these
culture,
movies, cancel culture, this stuff. Because I don't remember the big case that just happened, but basically, when the boyfriend killed the girlfriend
in actual real life?
In real life, yeah.
I don't remember.
Okay, whatever. I just remember there was this murder that took place, and then TikTok went crazy.
Oh yeah.
So on conspiracy theories,
free Britney, all this shit you could do.
Crazy fucking shit.
Yeah.
So I love that they incorporate that though in the movie. Yeah. That's this is what real life and social media is.
Yeah.
So.
And that's the driving force for pretty much the whole movie, all the way. I mean, as much as it's about the last movie's killer, which this one is really intertwined with the last one. I feel more than a lot of other ones are.
Yeah.
But it also really has to do with the whole conspiracy that Sam was the one who did the killing, and almost that the last Ghostface succeeded. Well, no, that's not even what he wanted to do. He just wanted to get famous and do that. So it kind of spun off.
He wanted to make his own movie.
Exactly. He was a fanatic.
He was a fanboy. But you saw it. I feel like this made Richie's character even cooler. Yeah, I feel like we're jumping to the end. We're jumping around.
We're gonna be jumping around a bit.
This movie, I feel like, made Richie's character a little bit cooler, and he had like such an it's like, oh, we thought he was just like a little
twerp. Like, we just wanted to get famous,
but this dude had like a whole collection of everything, like all the masks. It was insane that he was able to have all that stuff.
Yeah.
So that kind of made him cooler, and then you saw that he was like trying to make his own stab movie.
Yep.
So like that made his character a little bit cooler. It was definitely a little far-fetched.
I agree.
In this movie. So let's just talk about some of the deaths, because some of the deaths in this were brutal.
What do you give as the most brutal death?
The ladder
is the worst.
Just as soon as he stabbed her, like this movie is different from other Scream movies in the sense that they're really like honing in on like the knife is like the focal point of the shot, and they're twisting the knife and like
so many twists.
It's like I feel like so much more brutal. That's like he's like a cat playing with a mouse.
Yes,
like
exactly.
Like she was done for regardless, but then that whole sequence that they're climbing,
he's shaking the ladder.
That was one of the most brutal scenes.
Oh, and then she hit. I was like, that was a sad one. That one
was just a rough one.
That was a real
I'm
rough
like, I
one.
knew she was dead. But the way that they got her was really bad.
But leaving the movie, when I left, I was like, I feel like there wasn't that many deaths in this one.
No,
but that was because it wasn't main character deaths. There's a lot of fake out deaths, which we'll get into.
Yeah, a lot of side character.
There wasn't too many main character deaths. It was a lot of collateral, like Ghostface walking into a bodega, knifing two people, and then shooting the one guy in the face. Was like that's like a third of the kill counts on this movie.
I feel like they were scared to commit to stuff in this movie, and that was my biggest problem with it. I probably should have said that in the spoiler-free part too.
Right,
but I feel like that was one of my biggest problems with it. And it was frustrating in the sense.
But was it done on purpose? That's really my question, because going back to the point that this movie, obviously every movie plays on a certain, I don't know if it's trope, style, whatever, sequels, trilogies, remake sequels. This one's franchises. I feel like, and she said it, and even I think it's Mindy.
I thought she put under the table by accident.
So it was kind of hot.
Yeah.
Mindy even said it, that they keep characters around just to kill them and bring in the next wave of characters. I feel like that's what they're really going for, and if nothing else, to really subvert expectations in the next movie is what I'm hoping, and it wasn't just like studio interference or whatever it may be to keep these characters on.
Yeah,
because there wasn't one main character death.
No, and that was the most frustrating part. That's like, just commit to doing it. Like you're there already,
right?
Like it's okay. Like you can let Gail go. I guess it's scary in the sense that, wow, we're gonna lose one of the main core Scream characters.
Right, the original.
Like she is one of the most important characters in the entire franchise, and she's such a great actress, and she's star power.
Yeah,
that you want her in the poster for the next movie.
Yeah. But,
like, if you're going to kill her, just kill her.
She had a badass death. I would say if she would have went there, it was pretty badass.
Yeah, it was really badass. So
even Chad, though, too, dude. Chad had such a good death. And I knew it was coming when him and Tara, Jenna Ortega's character, started like actually, liking each other, and they kissed a couple times. I'm like, oh, he's fucking done. But
dead.
Dude, they were holding him up and just both going at him.
They got him like 30 times. It looked like they got him square in the chest.
Oh my god, how is he still alive?
It's not even that. It's how is he conscious, like talking as he's leaving the scene, like in the stretcher.
Yeah, right?
Like,
oh my gosh.
Like, just commit to killing a character.
They should have. But again, I thinking of Scream and these movies, I really do think that this has to do something with subverting expectations and the themes of the movie, but who the hell knows? If that's what it was, they did a great fucking job of it.
I love these characters, so I would love to see some more Core 4. I just want to see them like really take a step of being like, no, we're actually gonna kill people.
Yes.
In this franchise, and they alluded to that a couple times too. That it's like, what did they say in the movie? about killing main characters. Nobody's safe.
Right. Nobody's safe. It's always that. Yeah. Even that the core characters from the last movie, when you're talking about a franchise, are in the most danger.
Yeah.
But that's exactly why I think that for some reason, it could have been it was all part of the plan and a part of the makeup of the movie, because I know that the group that made this movie. On the production side is called Radio Silence. It's a collective of directors that they really like to do their research and really stick true to what these movies are about. I would really like to think that they had a plan about this, but who knows?
1,000%.
It did feel cheap though coming out of the movie.
Yeah, like when we got up to the third act, because I feel like this is one of the best second acts.
100%.
Definitely,
oh my god,
dude! It's like.
The bodega scene,
it doesn't stop.
The bodega scene, the bathroom with the ladder scene, and the subway ride.
And the subway ride, yeah.
It was crazy.
And the subway ride was scary, because that was really when you see the Halloween aspect take place.
Yes.
And how crowded the city is.
Yeah.
And I think it was crazy.
It was very crazy. Which was the most intense to you?
I think the ladder scene.
The ladder scene was 100%. When he was trying to get their attention from across the way, Danny, the boyfriend, I was like, "Oh my god!" I was freaking out.
I thought it was great. I think they killed it.
Good.
What was I gonna say? So I want to talk about some of the weaker points.
Yep.
In this part.
Yeah. What else you got?
I'm sorry, my brain is toast. So let's talk about the reveal, right?
You want to go with the reveal?
Yeah, let's start talking about that. I kind of suspected the detective a little bit, but they really did a good job of kind of throwing you off of each signal.
When they quote unquote killed his daughter, I'm like, no, it can't be him. And I completely was on his side and rooting for him, that he was like, let's kill this motherfucker. Like, I was like, no, it can't be him.
And like, I suspected Quinn for like a brief moment, but then they kill her off. Some people said, oh, like I kind of like they didn't show them stabbing her. Right. I was like, I didn't even think about that when I was seeing it. I saw her body covered in blood. Yeah,
exactly.
And they were pronounced dead by the police. So it was like, so that part I was like, wow.
Yeah. But the reveal that, number one, I forgot the other kid's name.
Ethan.
He was so relevant. Ethan and Quinn were brother and sister.
Yeah.
And they were both brothers to Richie, and the police was his dad. That was the craziest part about all of it.
So far-fetched. To get the whole entire family involved in like this revenge tour.
Right.
And them all be like such huge sociopaths that they think that this is like justified.
And I think it was really just the fact of, and they hit on it, that he was his favorite son, that Richie was the police officer's favorite son, and he almost would do anything for him and even bring his kids into it. And I think it didn't seem more or less of a brainwashing of, we have to do this for Richie. They really seemed like they wanted to do it. But it was, again, in the family sort of motivation, which is what all these Screams are about.
And I feel like that kind of mirrors the first two. Like, these two Scream movies kind of mirror the first two.
The first and the second,
Yeah, because this kind of feels like that they're bringing in someone related to the previous killer. Like,
it was the parrot. Dude, the second movie was Billy's mom.
It's like
fuck.
This is the second trilogy. I think they're playing a lot of homage to the original trilogy.
Yeah.
And I think they're trying to just do it a little bit like their way, but this was still very much like the second Scream movie,
right,
in the sense of reveal.
And so as far as the reveal is concerned, they were really leading up to something that I thought, and this is, again, I think we talked about this on, I don't know if it was WandaVision or Ant-Man, was the hype machine that the internet is. I was dead set and waiting, even until the last 5 minutes, for Stu to come out.
Yeah.
Because they were leaving the masks up to the first movie, and Stu's mask was not there.
Yeah.
Stu's mask was missing. I'm like, God damn it, it's Stu. And they even alluded to it in the movie.
Yeah.
And they were sitting there. It was Kirby and
Mindy.
Mindy. They were sitting there like, oh my, like the TV that killed Stu Macher. Like, and then she goes, if you think he's really dead.
Exactly.
And I'm like, I'm waiting for Stu to come out while the police officer is making his big speech and to cut his throat and come out in the end. But that didn't happen. And I wasn't disappointing, because that was never anything confirmed. But like, I feel like that's something they're waiting for the next movie. But it was still... First time we got three killers.
Which was cool.
And it was cool that they were a family.
Yeah.
They were crazy as shit, though.
And the final set piece for where the final showdown would happen was sick.
The movie theater?
The movie theater, oh, and the second one, wasn't the second one?
The second one was behind, it was like a theater stage.
Yeah. Lost my train of thought. But, yeah. I lost my train of thought.
But, no, I think the reveal, as much as I put my expectations up, I thought this was really good. If I never knew that, it would have been just as good. But I did really like, and I don't know exactly where they were going with it, the whole leaving the masks in the order that it happened.
Yeah.
I feel like they were really going for a legacy sort of feel, which I don't feel like really amounted to anything. I feel like
they really considered bringing Matthew Lillard back to this movie.
They did.
I think, it feels like they were really leading up to it.
Right.
And it didn't happen, and it was a little strange.
Right.
But that was all because I went in with the expectation to see him, too.
Right. But I really think, having kind of the background knowledge that Matthew Lillard has been asked this, and he's kind of acted coy about it, I have no idea. And he was supposed to be in Scream 3. I don't know if you know that he was paid for Scream 3, and he was a background character. They still paid him, but I really think that they're once again subverting expectations to have done all this, knowing people thinking it was Stu, for him to maybe come back in the future. That's what I really think. But do you agree that legacy thing kind of didn't go anywhere?
It kind of frustrated me because I'm that's why the ending didn't feel like it stuck.
Yes,
I feel like it all was leading up to something that I wish was so much cooler.
Right. And even if it wasn't Stu, I feel like there was something different they could have done to really bring it back to the legacy characters. And
I kind of feel like I'm upset that they wasted the masks for this one. That, if Stu does come back, does he have his mask now? They just gonna break the mask out again? This collection was sick, too.
That was crazy.
It was crazy. They had all the stab memorabilia, they had all the shirts and stuff.
I can't wait till those videos come out of what every item was, because I knew some of them, but, there was literally so much everything.
Stuff. I loved it.
I did, too. But yeah, the ending and the reveal
ending just, didn't do it for me.
Anything else that kind of was a low for you?
Ethan was, almost obvious, but they were making it so obvious that I was
right,
it's not him. And we talked about a scene that kind of left us a little confused, and then as we thought about it, we gained clarity.
Which one was that?
When Mindy gets stabbed on the train.
Right.
So Mindy gets stabbed on the train.
Oh, yes.
And you're like, Ethan acts shocked and goes to help her, and he ends up being the killer. So outside of the audience's perspective, why would he be doing that?
Right.
If he doesn't know that we're watching him do it. Why is he responding like that if he's one of the killers? But I think we talked about it and realized that
she wasn't dead.
It wasn't fatal shots.
Right.
So he didn't want to seem like a suspect or seem like one of the Ghostface in case she went to the hospital or something and then gave him up. And
it's kind of showing them being a little bit smart.
Yeah, exactly. And upon thinking about it, that scene became a lot better to me.
Yeah.
I really thought that. What was her name? Was it Quincy? What was the other killer's name? The daughter. Quinn. Oh, Quincy. What the fuck? Oh, sorry. I was thinking of Quincy Enunwa, old jet receiver. I don't know why. So Quinn, that also, I thought she was dead. So her to come back as a killer too was oh,
yeah,
that's crazy. And I kind of did like that they were brother and sister, and they were intertwined in the group, and thinking about how they don't even seem like they're close, they don't even talk.
Right. I don't know if they talk once in the movie,
and it really leads you to believe that it's how would they be connected at all? They barely have any banter.
Yeah.
And Ethan is a quiet character.
Right.
So he kind of blends in even in scenes that he's there.
Right.
So when he's missing, you don't realize he's missing.
But at the same time, there was the whole stint when Mindy got stuck with him on the train that she's sure that he's the Ghostface. Yeah. 100% sure. And I feel like that even more throws us off the scent.
Because you're there's no way he's the Ghostface. They're making it too obvious.
Exactly. And it's just what these movies do. And
so I did appreciate that. I'm I didn't love the reveal, but I was oh, you know what they did? They did do a good job of throwing you off who the killer was. Because even if you had the detective,
right,
it's there's two other killers that you have to try to find. So it's 1 in 3 maybe.
Right.
It's crazy.
And then I totally forgot about this till just now, the Kirby thing.
Oh yeah, and they make you think that Kirby's the killer for a second.
Right. I was sure that Kirby was the killer.
Yeah, when you realize that they locked from the inside, as soon as they said that, I'm like,
right.
They're fucked. This is a trap. Like,
I said, oh shit.
This is a setup for them.
Yes.
I think that's a setup the other way, but it's a setup for them.
Right, and then the police officer calls and said, she went insane 3 years ago. She's not even on the force anymore.
And that was such bullshit. That's just to throw you off the set. You're like, oh no, maybe it is Kirby.
Well, but that's, again, and this is really good writing and parallels and bring it together because Sam was going through that same thing through the movie. So we thought that was plausible because Sam, this whole movie is fighting with how she had to kill people to save her life, and we see her going through a downward spiral with the therapist saying how she wants to kill people and people calling her a killer. And with Billy Loomis still there, having her dad be a killer, it seems so plausible that it could happen to Kirby because it's already right there in the back of our mind that this could still be happening. I thought that was a great twist on it as well.
That's like the events of what happened in that movie, like lead her to be a killer.
Exactly.
Which I was like, I don't know if I buy that. And I'm glad. Then obviously it was the twist that she wasn't actually involved at all. That was just to throw you off of the detective again.
Yes,
and that the reveal aspect of it was awesome, just in the sense of
how they did it.
But I didn't.
It's really just the people who the killers were.
Yeah, I think that's what they did a good job disguising it. But it's not where I wanted the story to end.
Exactly.
Or how I wanted the story to end.
I agree. Even though Sam was a fucking badass by the end, dude.
Yeah.
She got the kill. Stabbing him down the throat and then twisting it. I was like, oh my god.
And you see that Sam has that, that killer in her.
Did she do the knife wipe in this one?
She does do the knife wipe.
She does again. She does the knife wipe.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, when they were in there, I don't know who was actually in the Scream mask at that point. But when he's on the stage and he does the knife wipe, I almost started cheering. I'm like, oh, that's such a good shot.
I really thought that was Stu.
Yes!
I was like, the knife wipe, I'm like, that's Stu.
Oh my god, I thought it was Stu. And so my reasoning for Stu, I've told you this, Charlie, but I felt like it was also very plausible for Stu because the first scene, obviously, were the two film students that wanted to kill Sam and Tara because they believed that she was the killer. What my reasoning that would have made sense for Stu is almost that he was protecting Sam and Tara because they were, even though Tara isn't directly, they were Billy's kids, and almost in a sadistic way protecting his friend, whether he was his friend or not. I felt like that was, in a Scream sort of convoluted way, would be a really good and clean way to have Stu be killing all these people.
Or maybe him wanting to be the one to kill...
Or that way.
Because of Billy kind of fucking fucked him by stabbing him so deep.
Closing the loop.
Yeah.
Maybe thinking that Sam was going to become a Billy Loomis, closing the loop on that completely, too.
Yeah. Okay, so you can think of it like in the hero arc.
Right.
I can think of it in the way that he's like, fuck Billy Loomis. Like, he stabbed me.
Fucking killed me.
Like, he actually,
And he hit him with a phone, that dick.
Yeah. Threw a phone at me.
That's for the phone, bitch.
Yeah.
Tell your dad.
You see him, you fucking psycho. But I would have loved to see him. I think that they really are just building up to him, though, that he's going to come back.
And Matthew Lillard's so game.
Matthew Lillard is also one of my favorite actors.
People of all time.
Yeah.
Not just because he was Shaggy. Not just because he was Shaggy.
Yeah, but because he was Shaggy.
But mostly because he was Shaggy.
And the first Scream performance is so iconic.
Oh my god.
And out there, it's so slapstick.
I know.
He's really just going bonkers. It's you never really see that in horror movies, too.
You don't.
That's why
because then it becomes so corny.
Different. Yeah.
But, they were able to get away with corny.
Because it was the balance. It was the balance. That Billy was so far the other way.
Yes.
And he was so, out there and just excitable that it grounded it. Because it's he's just a sociopath that's just game. He's just having fun with this. This is a game for him.
Yes.
Billy's, out for revenge because of his mom. He's just there for the ride. He's just this is fucking
awesome.
Let's go. In a crazy sadistic way. It brings him joy. It's just fun.
So that also reminds me of something else I really liked in this movie, and it's kind of, again, bringing it back to the first. Ghostface got the shit beaten out of him in this movie.
Yes, he did.
The shit beaten out of him, and it was phenomenal to watch.
I love that Ghostface is a clumsy killer.
Yes.
It's always so fun. You love seeing him run around and just.
But it's not even that he's clumsy. He's just getting the shit beaten out of him all the time.
He's taking shots.
Oh,
to be a Ghostface takes some strength. You gotta get tossed around a little bit.
And that's, again, it's like one of the not so plausible things in Scream movies that we as the audience have just come to accept at this point. And they really played on that. They really played on that, I feel like, in this one too.
But that Ghostface is just
like Ghostface is just like almost invincible, and there's no actual reasoning why.
Like as they're getting beat, like running around.
Yeah,
I think it's just like if your adrenaline's going, you probably don't feel half those blows. And if it's like a life or death situation, like it's fight or flight for the killer too. Like they're getting pumped with adrenaline.
Right.
And I think it's actually the opposite way that like Michael Myers is invincible.
Yep.
Like they're coming after you. Like they're not gonna trip and fall like as they're coming to get you. It's like it's almost comical. They're getting tossed around, but it makes it almost more grounded that there's an aspect like no, the killer is mortal too.
You can get him down. You can slow him down. You're not stopping him though.
And that's what makes these movies like a little bit different too.
Yeah,
that's the chase sequences. Just so fun to watch.
Right,
this dude run around in a mask.
Right.
People are just fighting for their lives in a sick way. It's like so exciting.
And another thing just about Scream in general, I'm sure we'll get into this a little bit in our rankings, but how it's a different mortal person every time in every movie the killer gets killed.
Yes. I love that because that makes each movie different.
Exactly.
And it's like a starting over point in the terms that you could twist like the biggest part of these movies is the third act reveal.
Yes.
So it's like
you wait for that, like
exactly. So it just leads to you have so much room to do whatever you want to do.
Exactly.
It's like these movies are fresh and they stay fresh because it's not the same killer each movie.
Yep.
We talked about this that it's not like that's why I think that this franchise is better than any other horror franchise. We said that.
Yeah.
Because in those franchises the killers are invincible and then they have to kind of get silly with it, and the sequels are never as consistent.
Right, and then they got to reboot it, and they got to do something different with it. I mean, fucking Jason had 13 movies. You know, he was a zombie. He was fucking jumping bodies. He went to hell. He came back. He went to space.
He went to Vancouver.
Yeah, he went to Vancouver. Jason goes to Vancouver. But just to reboot it and do the same thing again, like... Scream has the luxury of being able to change it up every time because you know it's going to be someone different every time.
And what I think happened to a lot of those franchises, they just let themselves get so serious.
Yeah.
Way too serious. I think the Scream movies are self-aware enough that keeps it fresh too.
It's a balance again.
Exactly. That's like some of the people in the cast are supposed to see stuff from the same perspective that we would see it as. Mm-hmm. And that's what makes this like a little bit different than other horror franchises because you don't really see that.
Exactly.
I love these movies. Like this one, I would say is definitely top 3.
Top 3, 100%. Yeah. No question.
It was fun. I just wish that they stuck the landing better.
Agreed.
That's the only thing I keep coming back to because I'm like the rest of this movie it was almost like perfect.
Yeah.
And it left me to think like in future installments and even Scream 5 did this too that we thought we were going to get a reveal of the killer before the third act.
Right.
And it's now almost like I don't know how it would work, but I would be curious to see how they would end up pulling something like that off. Because I didn't love the way if that would have been like the reveal that he was the killer. Right. I don't know how I would have liked it.
Because then what are you waiting for to the end? But they teased us with it with the first kill again.
Exactly. But in the last movie, like when we think that we're about to see Dewey blast Amber in the head in the hospital.
Yes.
And somehow she kills Dewey, which is still like that's one of my least favorite Scream moments. That I'm like, this just makes Dewey look so stupid after all these movies. It made Dewey just look like so useless.
That was one of my least favorite legacy main character deaths.
Yeah, I think that like threw me off at Scream 5. But I thought he was going to shoot him in the head, and we were going to find out one killer. And if they do reveal the first killer, I think that it would be better to do it dead.
Right.
So you still have to backtrack and figure out who the fuck they're working with, and what the rest of the plan is, because there's multiple killers.
Right.
So I thought that's what they were gonna do in the last one, and I was like, oh, this will be interesting, because then they're gonna have to do that. They're gonna have to backtrack. Like, there's still the mystery aspect to it.
Yeah.
Like, you killed him, but now you have to find out who the rest of the killers are. So.
Any other big pros to this movie that you really liked? I think we really hit on most of it.
It was thrilling.
Just so well done. I think well done is a great way to say it. Just well done.
And if you have a really great 2/3 of a movie, I'm still a fan of the movie. Like, the third act was still fun. So
yeah,
I've really enjoyed this movie. I will give this like an 8.5.
8.5.
And this is biased because I love my Scream movies.
Yeah.
But this felt like a return to form, and kind of makes me think, are they going to do like a Spider-Man Homecoming sort of thing, that each movie is in a different setting in this trilogy? Maybe they go overseas.
That would be cool.
Like, maybe like
right.
I don't know. I'm trying to think.
So
I heard this online.
What'd you got?
So I'm getting this guy 3C Films or whatever.
Okay, I think I've heard of him actually.
Yeah, shout out him. But he was talking about that what if somehow it's like Sam and Tara's mom is like this weird figure that we don't know anything about, we don't see.
Yep.
And what if she's like working to hide Stu or something, because Stu's family had money, so maybe they knew he was going to do life, so they faked his death and just shipped him somewhere. And she was still in love with like Billy or whatever, and through whatever reasoning, like, she had this connection to Stu.
Yeah.
And what happens if because she's on business overseas all the time, and stuff. Like, what if they move to a different country or something?
I like that.
Back with mom.
I like that.
Then we see Scream in a different country. I don't know how much I would love that.
No.
But it seems like maybe something this franchise is willing to do.
Right.
That they're not scared to just keep these movies in like Woodsboro or like small towns.
Right. I don't think they're going to go back to Woodsboro.
No.
I don't know if they would go for that blatant like change of scenery to make it that different, because
they just did
they really only changed the setting in this one, and it made it completely different. I feel like they could do that again subtly, or they could just go bombastic and go crazy with it.
I don't think that's how they should do it. I'm just
it's
saying like something that I heard, and I'm like, that could be really interesting.
Yeah. I was gonna ask, is there anything else you'd want to see from like the next Scream installment?
More commitment to kill characters.
Yeah.
And not saying like, obviously I want to see Chad back, which also that dude was toast.
Oh yeah, he was done.
Yeah, he was done. So it's like, I would like to see him back, but don't be scared to kill off characters.
Yeah.
Like, you're a Scream movie, it's a horror movie, sometimes it sucks, and maybe it's a curse within these movies that's like, oh, but then what am I going to do for the next one?
Right.
It's like, don't even think about it. Like, just stick to your guns and do something, and then something interesting will come. Like, if they kill Chad, then how does Tara react to that? You know what I mean?
Exactly. And that's kind of, hearkening back to what this podcast was made on, was Marvel movies.
Yeah.
So what I really like about Marvel movies is that so many different people make the movies, that they do what's best for the character in that moment in that movie, and they leave it for the next person to pick it up and figure it out from there, which is something I agree with you that I'd like to see in this. Like, more commitment to the now and not as much the future in some aspects, which again, I want to reiterate, that did not hurt this movie really in any way other than some fake deaths.
But that really frustrated me.
Right, it was frustrating. It was frustrating.
It held this movie back from jumping up like a tier.
Yeah.
For me.
Like getting into the top 2, you think?
Yeah, getting into like.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm gonna spoil it.
Don't spoil it.
It's okay. Yeah, no, but this isn't my top 3. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
But there's some really great Scream movies, and some of the little things in this movie held it back.
Yep.
Just a little bit for me.
We'll talk about those.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. But these movies get crazy,
and
I like that these movies just go bananas, because it's the chaos for me. It's just it's people chasing each other, trying to kill them. And then you just see some funny, like, it shouldn't be funny, but it's like hysterical moments during like these kills. Like when Quinn got hit with the brick and her teeth fly out. I'm like, that's so
great.
Like, that's hysterical.
Oh my god.
And I love that what Radio Silence really does listen to what the fans say about
they
these
are
movies.
fans.
They are fans.
That's what's really cool about coming into this age of not just horror movies. I feel like any movies that the people taking these helms were people like us that grew up in these movies, know exactly how they felt, how it made them react, and they're able to feed off that and do better with it. And that's going to be, we started seeing it in this movie. That I think we're really going to start seeing some really good, back to form with a new twist, which is exactly what this was.
And it's just fun to see Scream movies.
Yeah, it's fun.
I just love these movies so much. And even through the little flaws, these movies are movies I'll go back to and watch a lot.
Always.
Like, this movie was a lot, like, really filled with action.
Yeah.
And it really had your heart beating.
100%.
I was pleasantly surprised with it. Like,
pleasantly
honestly,
surprised.
It was
I was weary.
Movie. I was very weary
because it came out when did the other Scream come out? No more than a year ago. It's been
maybe 2020.
Was it 2020? Was it that?
It was a few years.
It was
ago.
22.
22. Okay, so these two movies came out.
They were super close, and it kind of worried me because I was like, they're doing it so close together. Like, well, is it going to compromise anything? But like, in the grand scheme of things. If there was people really dedicated to just doing Scream, you could pump these out every year and a half, 2 years, easy.
Yeah, because the story is kind of just like a murder mystery. Yeah. Like, I feel like you could think of the entire plot and put one of these movies together relatively quickly.
Yeah.
But I hope that they take their time at the same time.
I do too.
I don't want them just pumping out movies and them consistently doing the same stuff that characters are just left alive for the sake of they're scared of changing up the main cast too much. But these movies are great. Yeah. Man, like, there's really not too much bad stuff to say about it.
No, there really isn't.
I feel like we're just nitpicking.
Yeah. We are, and they're always able to draw it in. I mean, I'm looking right now, so what Scream 6 pulled in. Domestic, it pulled in $750 million.
Records. Yeah.
Is it really?
I think this is the highest grossing Scream movie.
$115 million worldwide. Like, that's a really good movie. I don't really know what the what it was to make it. Not that much, probably.
Yeah, they definitely getting their money's back from this movie. Yeah. Probably an opening weekend.
Yeah.
I think that the great thing about these movies is they always have a good cast, like great actors, great actresses. Like, they're fun to watch on screen. Ethan, I felt like, was purposely a bland character that was supposed to be his demeanor. That kind of threw you off of him being the killer. That he was like this meek guy, and it's like, oh, he's just getting blamed, but he blends into even scenes that he's there, so it makes sense that you don't realize when he disappears and he's doing some of the killing.
Exactly.
Because that's just how he built that character. Yeah. He's able to just kind of fall back without anybody realizing, and that's a certain different kind of skill. Yeah. That, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of other Ghostface really...
Right.
Like, you have to have.
That's the luxury of having such a revolving door of characters like that.
Yeah.
Because they always do.
Because it's a random side character. It's like, yeah, like, why is he really going to even butt in on this problem? Right. But it's like, nope, you're attached to it. And he keeps acting like he's like, well, I don't want to be here for this conversation. It's like, how am I tied into this? Yeah. You're saying I'm going to die? It's like...
So good.
It's like he just wove himself in just close enough. And like, that's what was so perfect. That was like, oh, it's the very loose strings that these movies are able to find. That's like, really? Like...
It's great. I love it.
Yeah. So... Out of the reveals, like, what do you feel about this reveal?
As far as ranking the reveals?
No, not ranking the reveals. Like, number 1 through 10. Like, how would you rank this?
Oh, how would I rank this reveal? I give it a solid 6.5. I think is where I'm at. I don't know if you were going to go lower. See, again, it's so hard with the expectations that I had. Yeah. Because every other time, I'm sure it was the same exact feeling. But I'd give it a solid 6.5.
I'd say 6.5 too. I think that's a fair number. That it wasn't a bad reveal.
No,
it was a good reveal. I think we went
Three Ghostface really gave us some points.
I think maybe it was a little far fetched.
Yeah,
and I feel like maybe that holds it back a little bit. But these movies are also so out there that's like you kind of suspend reality. Like, you're just watching a movie. Yeah. Like, have fun with it.
Yeah,
and these movies always end up being a fun bloodbath. I love that these movies are getting more gory.
Oh yeah, this one was definitely the most gory. And if it wasn't the most gory, it was definitely the most visceral gore.
Yeah,
like the
twisting the knife.
Yeah,
oh man, it was. People were getting it in this movie.
Yeah,
they were not holding back.
They were getting it good. I love it.
And I love to see where this edge goes. That's on Sam. Because she wears this chip on her shoulder.
Right.
The whole world just hated her because they thought that she was the killer.
Right.
And these people are going after her for, like, no reason. Like, she didn't do anything besides be the daughter of this guy.
Right. Oh, so question for you. So, given that they didn't kill off Gail, again, that was another one of the fake deaths that we didn't see. Where do they bring her character? Because we talked about this, too. It's like, I feel like she hasn't really served a purpose. I don't know if you would agree with that. She just did the same thing again in this movie. She wrote about the main characters. They were
and she said after she said that she wouldn't write about them too. So you think her character's taken one step, but you could also put it in this that her character is consistently just
there for the main character. Yeah, bad person.
There for the
payout. Comes out in the end.
It comes out in the end. Yeah, she's like an anti-hero. Like she's like, oh no, I'm gonna make my money off of this because.
Right.
I put my life on the line for this story. Mm-hmm. Like, I deserve this story. Because you have to think about it in that perspective, too. That's like, she was chasing this story, and the story ended up tying her into, like, a life-or-death situation. Mm-hmm. And she's like, fuck it, I'm here for it. I don't care. Like, I'll kill whatever fucking Ghostface comes my way.
Yeah.
So, she's there for the payday. Does it hurt, like, her relationship with some of the characters?
Yeah. But she's there for the action in the end.
But, yeah, and she's there. She'll save your life.
Yeah.
And she'll write about it. Another theory I heard in terms of Gail was... it's killing me.
Yeah, I forgot it.
Yeah, I forgot it.
I don't. Yeah, I did not hear anything about her, but I didn't feel...
Oh, that... Since she was talking... I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
Go for it.
I think it's the same guy. It's either Sean Chandler or... 3C Films was talking about the idea that they keep talking about these true crime docuseries and stuff.
She said everything is true crime docuseries.
They could somehow maybe bring this back to like Hollywood, that like these people aren't really well off people. Right. Like they're kind of out there for themselves. Like Sam and Tara's parents aren't like supporting them like financially really.
Right.
Like they're on their own, like looking for like basically living on scraps.
Yeah.
So if they do a docu-series, that they do like an interview, that it gives them a reason for all of them to be back in the same place. Ooh. That's like, listen, like we have to do it for the payday.
Right. They've all split apart.
They've all kind of like split apart, or maybe like Sam and Tara keep talking about how like they don't have to be on top of each other. Like they could be apart. So maybe there's like some distance. Doesn't have to be a big distance, but maybe she's living in an apartment with Danny, and Tara and Chad are living together with Mindy.
Right.
Like somewhere else.
Still at school or whatever.
Yeah. So people are kind of like split up. Like Gail's wherever she is, but they decide that like maybe Netflix picks up this docuseries.
Right.
And it's like, okay, like, well, we could use the money. Like, we might as well profit off of this. Like,
right.
And
they all kind of get cynical.
And Sam, it's not even that. Maybe Sam is looking for like a redemption thing that like people thought I did this. Mm-hmm. Like, people need to hear the real story. And I don't want Gail,
right.
I want to be the person.
I want to be the one to tell the story.
To say the story.
Yeah.
So I could see it like as a vindictive thing.
Yeah.
Too. So that would make a lot of sense to them being in the same place. Yeah. And kind of mirror the first three. That's like the third, wasn't the third one on the set of Stab?
Third one was on the set of Stab, yeah. That's kind of what brought them all together.
So this one is like, now they're making the docuseries and they're there for the filming of it too. So it does kind of mirror the first trilogy.
Yeah.
Like I was saying before. Like maybe that's the direction they go, and that would be kind of interesting.
That would be interesting.
And they're kind of like unraveling everything like the way a true crime documentary is. And it's like a limited series or something that they're making. That
would be cool.
Yeah, I feel like that would be really cool.
I like that idea.
Yeah, and I think that would work really well, and would kind of explain why all these characters are in the same place, or the reasons for doing it.
I like it.
Like,
not a bad theory. Thanks, Sean.
Like, yeah, it was either Sean or 3C Films. But anyway, yeah, I'm just reiterating that. I'm not saying that's my original idea, but I think that would be a really good way for the series to go.
I agree.
And I feel like they're smart too. Like, I feel like they're gonna hear what people are saying too about the reveal, and they're like, oh, we're gonna give it to you. Like, I know what you want, and they listen to the fans, and they're gonna be like, the next one is gonna really blow us away, I think too. And this franchise is never gonna stop. No. They could kill off all the characters and then just do the same thing that they just did.
Right. And I'd be so curious to see in, say 10 years, because this new series starting with Scream 5, right? Yeah, Scream 5 in 2022. It was all legacy character. It was all the kids of the people. But it was
like a soft, what was it called? A rebootquel?
A requel. A rebootquel.
I feel like that's what they call it.
It was a requel.
I know, but I think in the movie they called it
a requel. I thought they called it a requel. Like a reboot sequel. Requel.
Maybe they did.
Something like that.
Maybe I'm just making up shit.
But yeah, I would love to see, honestly, in the future, Scream like completely different. Not so different, but in a way that doesn't even connect back to these other characters.
Yeah, like make it a copycat. You could figure out a way to do it, and a reason for a new Ghostface to exist.
Right.
But is like targeting different people.
Yeah.
But that also could lead to going off the rails relatively quickly too.
Right. You need the right
you get scared of losing, like I said, like Courtney Cox and stuff. It's like once you like lose these ties and you kill off these characters, you really can't bring them back.
Right.
Because you can't bring them back. Like they're dead. So it almost leaves you like in limbo. Like, I can't really go all out and kill this character because what if that takes away from what this franchise is? And she's such a staple in this franchise that if we remove her, is it still a Scream movie? And I feel like that's something that eventually they're going to have to overcome.
Yeah, 100%.
And I don't think it's ever a nice, perfect transition.
No.
Because you always have this toxic fandom of like, why the fuck am I going to see it? All of them are gone.
Dude, they did that in the last movie.
Yeah.
Like Stab 8 was fucking Ghostface in cut off with a chrome mask and a flamethrower. Like, what the fuck is this? Like,
what the fuck is this shit? Yeah, and I think that they're very aware of, like, that's not what we're going to do with these movies. Mm-hmm. They're like, trust me, I see what you guys think that we're going to do, but we're not going to go that far. That's what we're making fun of in this.
Yes.
Like,
well, watch it get to that scenes. One day. It'd be so funny.
That's one of the funniest scenes, too, seeing that stab. It doesn't have a chainsaw in his hands.
He has a flamethrower. It was dead meat also. Did you notice that?
Yeah, it was dead meat. They got a shout out in that.
That's awesome. That was cool. That was really cool. Oh my gosh. We love Scream, boys and girls.
I really love Scream.
Any other closing thoughts on Scream 6?
I think that a lot of people were like, what the fuck? Because after they saw the movie and I was having conversations with them, they were like, it just didn't really like land for me. And I will say that the ending kind of does hold it back from being...
It deflated it a
little bit.
Yeah.
But with that being said, this is an upper echelon Scream movie. Mm-hmm. Top tier action and gore.
Yep.
And it was really a fun one. Like, I'm going to go see it again.
Yeah.
Like, when I'm going to get this on Blu-ray. Like, I'm going to watch this movie all the time.
It hasn't suffered from anything that the past Screams haven't. So I take that as a win.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the best way of putting it. And none of these movies have ever fell flat.
No,
these movies are upper echelon horror movies, and man, I don't know if I would even be a fan of the genre at all without Scream.
Me neither. I agree completely.
It brings all the aspects of horror and comedy it implements into it, and it implements like how we perceve horror movies.
It started meta horror. It was the first meta horror movie, and there's a lot that came off of it that it's still doing today, which I really like. I'm always gonna love Scream.
Yeah, always gonna love Scream. I'm always gonna be there opening night in the theater to watch these Scream movies.
Yes, sir.
That's my life. Love Ghostface. Shout out Ghostface.
So, you want to give a little tease for our next video? For our next podcast?
Yeah. So, our next podcast, we're going to be ranking the whole Scream franchise, and that means all the key aspects of what makes these movies great.
Yep.
So, we're going to rank our opening kills.
Yep.
We're going to rank our reveals.
Yep.
We're going to rank our Ghostface.
Yep. Rank our whodunits, how well it was done.
Yeah. And then we're going to rank our movies.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to that one. I'm really looking forward to getting back into the movies, really analyzing them a little bit more.
It's going to be a deep dive video.
Deep dive.
Like, we just talked about Scream 6 for an hour. So, get ready. for the 12-hour Screamathon.
Screamathon.
Yeah, so I'm really excited.
And video for the next one.
Video for the next one, yeah. And maybe a little surprise in the beginning of the next one too.
Maybe a little surprise.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun. Thank you guys for listening to this.
Yes.
These Scream movies are awesome.
Yeah.
And as much as I want to like rip it apart, you never can.
No.
Like, listen, is there plot armor? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Is it also a Scream movie? Yes. Yeah. So could I suspend my reality like a little bit, like I'm watching a movie? Yeah.
Always.
So these movies are always fun. What do you rank this movie out of 10?
Out of 10, I give it a solid 8.7.
I'm going the same. I'm going like 8.8.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I was gonna say 8.5, but I was like, oh man, if he's giving it 8.7, I really did enjoy it.
I can't just stick to halves on this one.
Yeah, and I feel like it really built up the tension better than any other like of the Scream movies, maybe outside of the first one.
Oh yeah.
But I really feel like they were trying to get your heart pounding, and I think they did an excellent job.
They did a great job.
Yeah, and that's what made this movie great.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, and this formula is timeless because it always keeps this fresh.
Yep.
So all these movies end up being really fun.
If it ain't broke,
don't fix it. Put down the pipe, Jerry. It's fine. Scream is fine.
Well, thank you everybody for listening.
Yeah.
We'll see you on the next one.
Yeah.
I'm Chris.
I'm Charlie, and we're two cousins.
Just two cousins.
Every time it's still recording.